Deadpool VR. Now, a lot of people will like criticize VR, saying it's too simple. They have a shooting games, but I don't care. I love me some VR, and they're doing a Deadpool game. Two things I love all in one. Let's get it, man. I got good feelings about this game.
Let's get going. For real.
Embodying Wade Wilson as you slice and shoot your way through Mojo's twisted interdimensional reality show is nothing short of a blast. This is the first Deadpool VR game built exclusively for Quest 3 and 3S, and it's way more comprehensive than you might expect from what could have easily been a shallow licensed tie-in. It doesn't get old to see Deadpool's head roll off his shoulders mid-battle or watch your severed arms flop around on the ground to the backdrop of a comedic one-liner.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa!
This is a relentlessly witty, often fourth-wall breaking, and highly replayable single-player campaign that stands out as the best superhero VR game since Batman Arkham Shadow.
Wow. Okay. That's high praise. I was not expecting that. Might get us an 8. Deadpool.
Whether you're a Deadpool fan looking to step into the Merc with a mouth shoes, or just here for a good old-fashioned VR shooter with tons of secrets and a good sense of humour, Deadpool VR is surprisingly complete. The campaign takes roughly 10 hours to finish, but there are secret levels to find and alternate Deadpool variants like Lady Deadpool and the Deadpool Kid to unlock, each with unique dialogue and Easter eggs that could easily push your playtime much further.
Hey, Port, why are you tracking mud on the good name?
Portaled out of existence by Mojo with the promise of making money, like a lot of money, Deadpool sets out to capture villains from the Marvel Universe for the Tyrant's interdimensional streaming service.
If you refuse Mojo's edicts, things will not go well for you here.
This story's premise is delightfully silly and simple, played entirely off the cuff, and each villain's domain is ripe for themed cherry-picking. The Ninja School level, for instance, is packed with weeb gamer humor and anime references.
Totally my bad. I was confusing your Kikuko with a different Kukiko.
While Omega Red's Stronghold is full of, in Soviet Russia, game beats you type jokes.
In preparation for this mission, I binge-watched both of Yakov Smirnov's comedy specials and...
Quiet, you idiot!
Each area feels as much like an arena for combat with uniquely themed enemies as it does a playground for Deadpool to poke fun at the player, the game industry, virtual reality, and whatever tropes the respective zone represents.
Amazing.
You are lost, existentially speaking.
You know what I want to get? Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna show y'all something. Cause this is what I need to get, and I'm gonna really go crazy with the VR content. I need one of these joints, a VR treadmill. You could stand in place, and it holds you up, and you could just run around in VR, go crazy. You could just make a little your boundary circle, just make it stationary around you, and then you could just move around in the environment. Crazy. Like, I definitely need this in my life. But let's get back to the review. But you see the price. That's the only thing holding me back, that price. Even if I had the expendable income, that would be like, all right, I'm wilding a little bit. Hold on. There we go.
However, this is not the same chamber as before.
Oh, glad it's just the crushing hours and low wages of video game artists, and not a ding to my impeccable sense of direction.
None of these areas overstay their welcome, as you'll typically clear a zone in about an hour.
Is that Ryan Reynolds?
The campaign strikes a good balance between feeling substantial and staying fresh. The reality show framing isn't just window dressing either. Each battle ends with a ranked score and Mojo Bucks reward based on your performance, while your viewer count, basically experience points, ticks upward as comments roll in on the right side of the display that match how well you did. These segments are often hilarious because of how wild the comments are, genuinely making you feel like you're live streaming to a chaotic Gen Z audience watching Deadpool massacre his way through the Marvel Universe.
Ooh, look at her go. To a far, far better place, I'm sure.
Sweet! Someone
tear,
made a
my
shitty
sweet
copy of Res
summer
for
child.
virtual world and tricked you into buying an expensive headset to play it.
The combat is immediately arcadey, rather than going for deep VR immersion territory like Half-Life.
I still got to
Alyx,
finish that. I haven't
which
finished.
at
I
one
didn't
point,
finish that game.
Deadpool VR gleefully mocks itself for not doing, in a very Deadpool-like manner.
Stuff to move with my hands. Finally making sense why this game is in VR now.
But for what it sets out to do, it feels way more thought through than most VR action games. The very first mission hands you dual pistols and katanas and shows you a nice big group of enemies to experiment on.
Today just isn't your day, is it?
That's what Deadpool VR is all about. Kinetic movement through dynamic environments, creative kills, and irreverent goofs.
Nice.
This implementation really does capture what makes the character work.
Ding.
You can wall run, double jump, grapple across arenas, strafe around opponents, or dive kick into clusters of enemies, and it all feels great without ever getting too easy or unbalanced. Plus, Deadpool can lose arms mid-combat or even his head or legs during key story moments, creating surprisingly interesting segments where you're fighting with one arm while waiting for the other to regenerate.
I'm craving Korean barbecue now. Is that weird?
Or remotely controlling your body from your severed head's perspective.
It's like taking baby steps for the first time all over again.
It creates a layer of dynamism that Deadpool VR regularly riffs on in lowbrow fashion, including a memorable segment where, after losing the lower half of your body, you have to race a recurring antagonist up an obstacle course with nothing but a grappling gun.
Grapple to glory!
Wow.
There are always a few tactical considerations at play, adding layers of variety to the regular carnage too. For example, blocking too many attacks can make your swords break, and your wrist grenades take a few seconds to refill between uses.
As they should, as they should.
How's that for direct action?
At least your dual pistols are quick to reload and never run out of ammo, though they're kind of weak on their own. The real
cool
fun
to shoot,
comes from
though.
grabbing superior weapons off enemies. That includes assault rifles, shotguns, SMGs, grenade launchers, missile launchers, or even melee weapons like flaming swords, shock batons, and in one memorable instance, a chainsaw-bladed axe.
And I like how you can throw the
Excellent
weapons
to
too.
use and are so much fun to mix into your arsenal as you rip and tear across each arena.
Why don't you take a timeout for a little bit?
Additionally, it's awesome that you can buy new dual pistols and katanas with your Mojo bucks between levels in the hub area, including useful variations like basic shotguns or penetrator pistols equipped with laser sights. Upgraded katanas include really fun ones that extend when you slash, or spin back to you like a boomerang when you throw them.
Okay.
In total, there are about 8 pistols, 8 wrist-mounted grenade types, and 8 katanas to mix and match between. No upgrade is
Okay,
too
weapon
expensive
variety.
or
I
too
wasn't expecting
difficult
this
to
much.
earn, and the differences between each are significant enough to make playstyle customization feel robust.
No matter how much loot I get, I always have room for one more in the old pouches.
When you fill up your big money time meter, you can press the X button on the left controller to activate it, which puts an incredibly powerful weapon in your hands for a short period of time and increases your Mojo dollar yield after the battle. The default option is
Oh,
the
you
exploding
Gambit's
cards
cards?
wielded
Oh,
by
that's so
Gambit.
cool. That's so fire. They put a lot of thought into
Other
this.
purchasable big money time abilities like Thor's hammer and Star-Lord's element guns that add variety if you want to switch things up.
Nice. You got
The only
Milnor,
real
you got
problem with combat is that the boss
Star-Lord's
battles feel way
guns.
too choreographed. Time slows down and you need to make specific moves in a row or else a cutscene will pull you out of VR entirely. That part is kind of jarring. Worse still, if you're executing one of those timed combat moves against a boss and you're not standing in the right spot, it can push you back to the quest lobby until you reposition yourself. It's not clear why this happens, and it feels like a bug that needs patching.
Deadpool corpse assemble.
Deadpool VR stays fun beyond the initial playthrough thanks to its alternate Deadpool variants and secret levels. When you replay zones as variants like the Deadpool Kid or Lady Deadpool, the gameplay itself doesn't change, but the way each variant reacts is appropriately silly and adds new flavor to familiar
As
encounters.
it should.
No sprinkler system in here, sorry.
Deadpool Kid brings a cowboy twang to all his lines and in-jokes,
I'll be recycling you into horseshoes.
while Lady Deadpool constantly points out that NPCs still refer to her as Sir because the developers didn't re-record those lines in true meta fashion.
Wade. Shit.
It's actually Wanda, but since the misnaming / misgendering gag is getting old, I'll let it slide.
Each level also contains hidden doors aligned to specific Deadpool variants, meaning when you return as the correct character, you'll unlock secret levels with unique challenges or puzzles that reward extra Mojo bucks and collectibles like comic books, music tracks, concept art, and weapons.
Oh, Neil Patrick Harris.
It's a smart replayability hook that actually incentivizes...
So Neil Patrick Harris voiced this Deadpool, not Ryan Reynolds. But hey, that's a pretty good actor. This guy. I know y'all probably remember him. He's been in mad shows, hella movies. How I Met Your Mother, Dougie Hauser, 40 Series Events, Smurf, How I Met Your Father. He's been in mad shit. Like, he's a legendary actor.
There's multiple playthroughs rather than just padding out runtime.
Hell yeah.
You
Things
can
like
read
the
comic
multiple
books. That's
variants
fine.
repeatedly contrast how seriously its characters and
covers.
Marvel Universe mythology as a whole take themselves against the lewdness and unseriousness of Deadpool himself, shredding any pretense of urgency and making things go boom for shits and giggles.
Say, couldn't we have some music for this flashback? Maybe something by Aha.
The villain roster, pulling liberally from across the Marvel Universe with lesser-known fan favorites like Ultimo and Lady Deathstrike, helps enable a decent variety of levels. And the jokes are typically more three-dimensional than just playing off tropes.
You know I'm sensitive about my prodigious foot size and its implications about my manhood.
These are all well performed and serve Deadpool
Nova.
as a character, rather than forcing him to awkwardly traipse around trying to make sense of why the hell he's involving himself with all these random Marvel characters. It knows it's wacky and stupid, and that's part of the joke.
It's very self-aware, yeah.
The sole issue with how the story is presented is that it does make you sit through long cutscenes and dialogue sequences with no way to skip them. Pressing A just gives you a big crossed out A decal on the screen, meaning you have to experience an entire level again, exposition and all, if you just want to go back and unlock a secret level with a new character. This can drag down Deadpool VR's pacing a bit, even when you're going through and experiencing new-ish dialogue with a new variant.
I think that'll get patched. That'll get patched out. I don't worry too much about that.
Sexaby sexing on a sexy couch. Nailed it.
At least Neil Patrick Harris absolutely nails Deadpool's humor. He brings the perfect mix of snark, self-awareness, and chaotic energy that made playing as this version of Wade Wilson a genuine delight throughout the entire campaign.
What does ultimatum stand for again?
Underground, liberated, totally independent.
Just kidding. No one cares.
The supporting cast also has a mix of standouts and phone-ins. John Leguizamo's Mojo is fantastic, chewing scenery with the perfect amount of grotesque sleaze.
Who is this
They got John Leguizamo, the legend.
He should be a star. I want to lay my eggs in his chest.
While Julia Jones's spiral falls flat with a delivery that feels uninspired.
You are infuriating.
Visually, Deadpool VR looks much better on Quest 3 than on Quest 3S. Performance was smooth overall across both platforms,
As it should.
but the cel-shaded graphical style just goes so much harder on the standard Quest 3. It's enjoyable to look at and listen to through and through regardless, even with all the chaos from combat making the Quest 3 work harder to render everything at 90 FPS, with vibrant colors, intricately detailed levels and characters, punchy weapons, and high-fidelity cartoon gore that pops.
Honestly, the 3S, it was made for to be like a more affordable version of the 3. So I mean, honestly, you probably was better off keeping the 2 if you had the 2, and just keep saving up until you could trade in the 2, go somewhere and trade in the 2 for the 3 with some cash.
That is how we do it.
Deadpool VR has a variety of comfort options that are always nice to see too. Long-time VR users can go straight for the no-holds-barred VR hero experience, but there are also options for snap turning, comfort blinds, and no screen shake. And even if the most intense option is standard fare for you, the fact that the most visually intense sequences, like passenger shootouts in vehicles, are still entirely skippable if needed is appreciated. There's also a kid pool mode that removes as much vulgarity from Deadpool VR as it can, but that kind of defeats the point, doesn't it?
Yeah, like why? Yeah. There's other games your kids could play if you want them to play Marvel superhero games. They have great games. The Lego series comes to mind automatically.
Oh my god, kidding. I was totally kidding.
Okay, here we go to the verdict.
Marvel's Deadpool VR adds to a growing roster of great licensed superhero games that help prove VR games can be more than shallow tie-ins. Its kinetic combat system is engaging for the entire 10-hour campaign, and the alternate Deadpool variants with genuinely funny, unique dialogue make replaying levels feel worthwhile rather than like padding.
Woo, the all-you-can-slay buffet!
As the default Deadpool, however, Neil Patrick Harris's performance delivers exactly what you'd hope for, and the reality show framing enhances the overall story rather than feeling gimmicky. If you're up for dark, lowbrow comedy and fourth-wall breaking meta humor, then this is easily the most complete and entertaining superhero VR experience since Batman Arkham Shadow. Just make sure you're playing on Quest 3 to get the most out of its vibrant visuals. For more recent
figured
action,
it was
check
going
out
to
our...
get an 8 or a 9. But yeah, let's make it do what they do real quick. All right, so Deadpool VR coming out for the Meta Quest 3. Well, that's what device it was marketed for. One of my favorite superheroes, one of my favorite ways to game mixed into one. I don't see this game failing in my eyes. The reviewer here gave it an 8. He said it's the best VR experience, the most complete VR experience since Batman Arkham Shadows, which is the VR game for the Arkham series, the famous Arkham series from back in the day. Well, not really back in the day, from about a decade ago. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this. A lot of people say that VR is all it is first person shooters and it gets repetitive, but I don't care. Like I said earlier, I love me some VR, and I'm definitely gonna be picking up this game probably right after I click off of this video. All right, so y'all let me know how y'all feel down in the comments. Y'all already know the vibes. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's your boy JusticeXFalls, and we out. One.